Welcome to day 16 of the 21-day creative challenge. How are you doing? I know some of you are saying, oh, I've got to catch up, and some of you are keeping up, and some of you have yet to start. All of that is absolutely fine. These videos are not going to go anywhere. They're not going to delete after 21 days. They're there for you to sort of come along and just pick and choose so you can top up your creativity whenever you need to. Anyway, on with day 16, which is all about art in situ. Art in situ is all about taking a finished piece of work and hanging it in a room. You see these beautiful interior shots with artwork hanging in them in interior magazines and that sort of thing, and you think that's quite impossible to achieve when in fact it's really easy. Now there's 3 ways in which you can do this. One, you can have space in your own home, in your own room, and you can set a scene and take a photo, and that's brilliant if you've got really good lighting and you've got the space to do it and you've got the time to set the scene each time. Another way of doing it is playing around with Photoshop. Now, if you haven't got Photoshop skills, that can be a huge learning curve, and maybe a learning curve you don't want to tackle at this precise moment. You can push Photoshop aside and still work on your computer using a platform called Wall App, and it's linked to a print selling service, but the actual service of putting your artwork in an interior is free. I'll put the links down below so you can have a go. There's a third option, an easier option, and it's on your phone, and it's using an app called iArtView. There's a free version and there's a subscribed version. I pay for the subscription because I use it a lot, all of the time. As soon as I'm finishing a piece of art, I'm looking about how I can tell the story of what it looks like in an interior shot. So it's really important for my website as well as social media, but also my inventory, my portfolio. It's really good because it scales your photograph into their interior shot. So it takes away all that faffing about and all of that manipulation of trying to add shadows, of trying to get the right perspective, the right angles, and also the right size. So it kind of does the donkey work for you. And there's a number of interior shots that you can choose from, and of course there's more interior shots if you subscribe to the service as well. I prefer to take my own photos of interiors that I like, and I save those photos. I then upload those photos to the app and make my unique in situ scenarios in the app that way. So if I'm staying at a lovely Airbnb, I'll take some room photos and I'll upload it to the app that way. So you can start off using the app in a very simple way by using their backdrops, their interiors. You can then pay for a subscription to get extra interiors, but then you can also use it and start to add your interiors and build your portfolio that way. So it's almost like an app that grows with you, which I think is really good. So that's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how to put a finished piece of art into the app. I open up the app and I press the plus button to add a photograph. I give it access to my album and I go to the photograph I want to choose. And the photograph I'm choosing is already cropped. There's no distracting background in the photograph. I then start to work my way through the form that's attached to that photograph. So the title, the medium, my name. I'll add a description on there. Usually the description is something about the materials I've used or any special significance of making this piece of artwork. I'll also add the measurements. I typically measure in centimetres, but you can change it to inches if you prefer. And I put the price in alongside as well. Now you don't have to fill all of that in, but it's quite handy because it kind of acts like an inventory. That gives a little second or two to save. So there you have your addition and the name and title and everything, and it pops it into an in situ wall scenario for you. It spins the app horizontally at this stage. Now, I always see that first wall on a lot of artists, so I like to change it to another option, and all you do is swipe up from the bottom. There's lots of walls to choose from, and where it says plus is the additional subscription options. I then choose to save it to my camera roll, and I might actually do a couple of different versions so I can compare and contrast, but it's as simple as that. I think this app is absolutely brilliant, but I need to tell you what I used to do before I discovered this app, and this was a few years ago when cow art was just beginning, about 8 years ago. Only feels like yesterday though. So I'd take a photograph of a finished piece of artwork, I'd then look through interior magazines and I'd rip out interiors I really loved. And then I used to print out the photograph of my piece of art to scale so it would neatly fit into that interior shot. I'd then PVA glue it in position, and then I'd take another photograph of the interior magazine rip out, my photograph stuck on, and I'd take a photograph of that, and that would be my in situ shot. It wasn't the most sophisticated way of going about it, but at the time that's what I could afford and those were the tools I had, so that's what I did. So when I came across this app where it did it so easily, oh my god, I couldn't believe it. So you've probably guessed, I'm going to challenge you to put a piece of artwork that you've recently finished. It'd be brilliant if you did something from the previous day's challenges that we've been up to. Crop your photograph so the background isn't distracting, upload it to the app, decide what interior shot you're going to go for, and then save it to your camera roll, and then tag me in your finished in situ piece of art. Tomorrow, day 16, we are talking about black and white. Well, we're going to be talking about how important black and white is to your artwork. I don't necessarily mean the black and white paint, I mean the value scale. Anyway, I'll tell you more tomorrow. Bye, 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 bye.